What if your mind could bend reality in just 24 hours? Imagine closing your eyes tonight and by tomorrow, something you once thought impossible quietly appears in your life. It sounds like a story from science fiction, yet hidden within the work of one man lies the key to making this real. His name is Jacobo Grinberg. Jacobo was not a mystic, not a guru, but a scientist, a Mexican neuroscientist who dared to ask the question mainstream science avoided: does consciousness itself shape reality? He believed it did. And through years of research, experiments and encounters with extraordinary people, he left behind a body of work that hints at something astonishing: that your thoughts, when combined with emotion and focus, may have the power to alter the very fabric of the world around you. In this video, you're going to discover a technique that draws directly from Jacobo's ideas, a method so focused, so precise, that if practiced with sincerity, it may bring results in just 24 hours. We're not talking about vague affirmations or wishful thinking. This is about tuning your mind into what Grinberg called the lattice, the invisible web of information that connects everything. When your consciousness aligns with it, reality itself can shift. But before we dive into the steps, let's set the stage. Jacobo wasn't just writing theories in dusty notebooks. He worked with shamans like Pachita, a woman who performed surgeries without instruments, claiming to materialize organs out of thin air. He documented events that defied logic, rituals where rain fell from a clear sky, or people reported impossible healings. These weren't just legends, they were phenomena he studied with a scientist's eye, trying to decode what was happening in the mind during these moments. What you'll learn here today is not one of those faraway stories, but a simple process you can try yourself. It condenses Jacobo's insights into a practical formula. Calm the mind, set one intention, fuel it with raw emotion, repeat it until the subconscious absorbs it, and then let it go. That's the path. It may sound simple, but as you'll see, the power lies not in the steps themselves, but in the intensity with which you perform them. Why should you watch until the end? Because most people stumble when trying to manifest. They get lost in wishing, hoping, or doubting, but Jacobo's research reveals why those efforts fail, and how a subtle change in focus can make the difference between nothing happening and something extraordinary unfolding in your life within a single day. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you'll have a clear roadmap, a mind control technique that could shift your tomorrow before it even arrives.
Welcome to Awakened Synchronicity. If you're ready to explore the hidden power of your mind and awaken to possibilities most people never dare to imagine, make sure you subscribe right now and join us on this journey. Before we talk about the technique itself, we need to understand the man behind it, Jacobo Grinberg. His name doesn't appear often in mainstream science books, yet his work remains one of the most intriguing attempts to bridge the world of the measurable and the mysterious. He was a Mexican neuroscientist, born in 1946, who spent decades studying not only the brain but also the depths of consciousness. While many of his colleagues were mapping neurons and chemical signals, Grinberg was asking a far more daring question: what if our minds are not contained inside our skulls at all? Jacobo believed that consciousness was not just a personal experience, but a field, something vast, interconnected, and shared. He called it the lattice. Imagine an invisible web that runs through everything: people, objects, even space itself. According to him, this web holds information, and our minds can both access it and influence it. In other words, we're not just observers of reality, we're active participants shaping it. This was not just philosophy. Grinberg was a scientist with a disciplined mind. He conducted experiments with people who claimed extraordinary abilities: shamans, healers, and meditators. He wanted to measure what was happening in the brain when someone entered a state of deep awareness or when unusual phenomena took place. Through his studies, he found patterns that suggested something remarkable. Under certain conditions, the mind could affect matter, perception, and even events in the external world. One of the most striking aspects of his work was his collaboration with a healer named Pachita.
She performed what she called psychic surgeries, where she appeared to open people's bodies, remove diseased organs, and replace them with new ones, without traditional instruments. Grinberg observed these sessions firsthand. What fascinated him wasn't just the spectacle, but the possibility that her consciousness was interacting with the lattice, pulling information or even matter into physical reality. For Grinberg, these events weren't miracles in the religious sense. They were demonstrations of an underlying principle. The mind has direct access to the structure of reality. He compared it to a hologram, where every part contains the whole. If the universe is holographic, then consciousness, when properly focused, can alter the image we call reality. Why does this matter? Because if his theory is even partially true, it means every one of us carries the same potential. The difference is that most people never learn how to access it. Our minds are distracted, scattered, filled with doubts and conflicting thoughts. But Jacobo showed that when the mind becomes coherent, when thought, attention, and emotion line up, something extraordinary can happen. Reality itself bends. He didn't stop with mystical practices. He also explored meditation, telepathy, and altered states of awareness, always searching for the common thread. Again and again he returned to the same conclusion. Consciousness is not passive, it's creative. It's the architect behind the scenes, and if we learn to direct it, we can step into a role far greater than we were ever taught. Jacobo Grinberg's life ended in mystery. He vanished without explanation in 1994. Some say he disappeared because of the nature of his work. Others believe he reached a point where he crossed into the very field he described. Whatever the truth, what remains are his theories, his observations, and the possibility he left behind, that each of us can connect to the lattice and reshape our reality from within. Why 24 hours? It sounds too fast, too sudden, almost unbelievable. But Jacobo Grinberg's work gives us a clue. The mind doesn't always need weeks or months to shift. Sometimes, under the right intensity, it can reset in a single day. Think about moments in your own life when something changed instantly. A powerful realization, an emotional shock, a sudden burst of clarity. In one heartbeat, your perspective shifted forever. Grinberg believed consciousness works in the same way. If you align your thoughts, emotions, and focus with precision, the effect doesn't have to take years. It can begin in less than 24 hours. This is not magic. It is about alignment. When your thought says one thing, your feeling says another, and your attention wanders elsewhere, nothing happens. The mind is scattered, but when all three merge, thought, emotion, attention, they form what Grinberg called a coherent state. In this coherence, your consciousness interacts with the lattice, the universal field of information. And once that connection is strong, reality responds. That's the essence of the 24-hour possibility. The right focus, the right emotional charge, the right clarity can bend the probability of events, opening the door for something new to arrive. So how do you do it? The process begins with the first and most important step, calming the mind. Step 1. Calm the mind. You cannot access the lattice through noise. A racing mind filled with worry and distraction has no space for coherence. Jacobo studied how deep meditative states altered brain patterns, quieting the storm of random activity and replacing it with rhythm and order. That rhythm, he found, created the conditions for higher awareness. In practical terms, it means you need to breathe. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly through your nose. Hold for a moment, then exhale through your mouth. Do this until the edges of your thoughts begin to soften. Imagine every breath sweeping away the static. This is not just relaxation, it's preparation. A calm mind is like a clear mirror. It reflects without distortion, and only in that clarity can your intention connect fully with the lattice. Once the noise is gone, you're ready for the second step, setting the intention. Step 2. Set the intention. Most people fail here without realizing it. They think of too many things at once, or they phrase their desires in terms of lack. I want money, I need love. These statements announce to the Lattice that you don't already have them, and so the lack continues. Grinberg's insight and what manifestation requires is clarity. Choose one thing, just one. Not 10 goals, not a vague feeling, but one clear desire you can hold in your mind without confusion. Then state it in the present tense, as if it already exists. I have received the payment I needed. I am in a loving relationship. I wake up energized and healthy. These aren't wishes, they are declarations. Why present tense? Because the subconscious mind doesn't operate in future hopes. It responds to what is fed as present reality. When you say, I want, your mind registers the absence. When you say, I have, your mind begins to act as if it's true, and the Lattice reflects that state back into your external reality. Jacobo understood this subtle distinction. It's not about tricking yourself, it's about tuning your consciousness to a specific frequency so that everything around you begins to resonate with it. Now comes the force that makes the intention alive, emotion. Step 3, emotional charge. Words alone are weak. Thoughts without feeling are paper boats on a storm. What transforms them into powerful signals is emotion. Grinberg's experiments showed that when people entered states of strong emotional engagement, whether through ritual, meditation, or visualization, their influence on perception and even physical phenomena increased dramatically. Emotion amplifies. It burns the image into the subconscious, and the subconscious is what communicates with the Lattice. So when you set your intention, you don't just repeat it like empty words. You feel it. If your intention is to be healthy, imagine the sensation of waking up with full energy. If it's financial, feel the relief, the security, the joy of having received it. If it's love, allow yourself to feel warmth, closeness, connection. The body doesn't always distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. That's the secret. When you feel the intention as if it's already true, your mind and body align with that version of reality. Grinberg often emphasized that reality is not fixed, it's flexible, shaped by perception. If perception changes at its deepest level, the external world follows. Emotion is the glue that locks perception in place. Without it, thoughts drift away like clouds. With it, they become commands. This is why so many people struggle to manifest. They repeat affirmations without energy, as if reciting a shopping list. The words carry no life, but once emotion enters, everything changes. Imagine standing in front of a door that separates you from what you desire. Thoughts alone may knock gently, barely heard, but emotion pounds on the door with certainty, announcing, I am already here. And that door begins to open. That is what Grinberg discovered again and again, that the intensity of belief fused with feeling creates coherence. And in coherence, the mind has extraordinary power. These first 3 steps, calm the mind, set the intention, charge it with emotion, are the foundation. Without them, the rest of the technique cannot work. With them, you have already crossed halfway into the 24-hour possibility. Because once the noise is silenced, the desire is clear, and the heart is burning with the reality of it, the Lattice cannot help but respond. It is like tuning a radio. When the frequency is exact, the signal comes through. And this is what Jacobo Grinberg left us. A reminder that consciousness is not passive, that each of us carries within our mind the ability to shape the very texture of experience. The 24-hour window is not about rushing, but about intensity. It's about focusing so fully, aligning so deeply that reality bends quickly without delay. And it begins the moment you decide to calm the noise, speak your truth in the present, and feel it so vividly that the universe has no choice but to answer. Step 4 is about something deceptively simple yet deeply powerful: repetition. Imagine your mind as fertile soil. Every thought you plant is a seed. But if you plant it once and walk away, the wind may carry it off, or it may never take root. Repetition presses that seed deeper, over and over, until it anchors itself and begins to grow. This is why repeating the chosen phrase or visualization around 100 times in a single focused session matters. It is not about exhausting yourself or chanting endlessly without meaning. It is about building rhythm, momentum, and depth until the subconscious accepts the idea as fact. Grinberg understood that the subconscious mind is like the gateway to the lattice. Conscious thoughts flicker, come and go, but the subconscious holds patterns, and those patterns interact with the fabric of reality. When you repeat a phrase such as "I have received the opportunity I wanted," or when you replay a vivid mental picture of your desire fulfilled, each repetition strengthens the imprint. At first it may feel mechanical, but soon the words and images begin to blur into sensation. They feel real. That is when the subconscious opens its doors. Why 100 times? Numbers carry energy. 100 is large enough to push beyond casual thinking, but small enough to remain practical in a single sitting. The rhythm builds like waves crashing against a rock, slowly reshaping its surface. After 50 repetitions, the conscious mind starts to tire, and the deeper layers of awareness become more receptive. By the time you reach 100, the idea has sunk into your inner reality. You have, in a sense, reprogrammed yourself. But repetition is not only about quantity, it is about quality. Each phrase should be felt, not just spoken or imagined. Empty words are like stones thrown into a void. They make no lasting mark. Words charged with emotion, repeated in a state of calm focus, carve channels in the subconscious. These channels then guide the flow of energy from the lattice back into your life. Grinberg saw this in his research. When intention was repeated with sincerity and feeling, the effects were magnified. When done mechanically, little changed. And so repetition becomes a bridge between fleeting thought and lasting belief, between the conscious chatter of the day and the quiet, steady voice of the subconscious that shapes your reality. This is why it works so quickly. The subconscious does not argue, it absorbs. Repetition is the language it understands best. Once the repetition has done its work, we arrive at step 5, the synergy connection. Jacobo coined the word synergy to describe a state of heightened coherence in the mind. It is when thought, emotion, and attention align so completely that they stop being separate forces. They merge into one laser beam of consciousness. Synergy is more than concentration. It is harmony. Think of an orchestra where every instrument plays in tune, creating a single powerful sound that moves the soul. The mind in synergy is like that orchestra. No scattered thoughts, no half-hearted emotions, no distracted attention. Everything moves together, directed at one purpose. And in this harmony, reality begins to bend. Grinberg's theory of the lattice depends on synergy. He believed that the lattice responds most strongly when the signal sent by consciousness is coherent. A weak, scattered signal produces weak results, but a coherent signal born from repeated thought, deep emotion, and unwavering focus resonates with the lattice and alters probability itself. In practical terms, this is the secret behind why some people seem to manifest effortlessly while others struggle. Those who reach synergy connect fully. Their desires move from possibility into actuality because the lattice reflects back the coherent state of mind. You can feel, when you are close to synergy, there is a stillness inside you, almost electric, as if your body is buzzing with certainty. The intention no longer feels like a wish, it feels like truth. At that moment, your consciousness is not begging reality for change. It is instructing reality. The difference is subtle but profound. And this is where Jacobo's insights carry such weight. He was not simply telling people to think positively. He was describing a process of alignment, a state of being, where consciousness gains access to extraordinary power. Yet even after repetition and synergy, there is one more crucial step: released. Step 6. This is the paradox of manifestation. You must focus with intensity, repeat with passion, align with coherence, and then you must let it go. Release is trust. It is saying to the lattice, I have done my part. Now it is your turn. When you cling too tightly, obsessing over when and how your desire will appear, you block the flow. The subconscious begins to mix the original clear signal with static fear, doubt, impatience. This confuses the lattice, and the result is delay or nothing at all. Grinberg noticed this in his work as well. When people approached phenomena with desperation, little happened. When they entered the process with confidence and surrender, strange and powerful things occurred. So after your 100 repetitions, after the moment of synergy, you breathe out, you detach, you carry on with your day as if your desire is already on its way. The release is not laziness, it is confidence. You are no longer trying to force reality, you are allowing it to unfold. And this brings us to something that seems almost unbelievable, but was part of Jacobo's real-world observations. Proof, or at least powerful intrigue, that consciousness can extend beyond the limits we imagine. Jacobo spent years studying a woman known as Pachita, a shaman in Mexico who performed acts that defied explanation. Witnesses, including Grinberg himself, reported her conducting surgeries without conventional tools. She would make incisions with her hands, remove what she claimed were diseased organs, and replace them with new ones, sometimes materializing them seemingly from nowhere. Patients would recover, often against all odds. There were other stories too. Rituals where she appeared to influence weather, calling rain from a clear sky. Instances where people described instant healings or where objects seemed to appear and disappear. To many, these tales sound impossible, but Grinberg treated them as phenomena worth studying, not dismissing. He measured brainwaves, documented behaviors, and searched for patterns. His conclusion was not that Pachita was a magician, but that she had achieved a level of synergy so deep that her consciousness directly interacted with the lattice, pulling information or matter itself into form. Whether or not one believes every detail, the fact remains, a scientist of discipline and rigor devoted years of his life to these events. He staked his reputation on the possibility that consciousness is far more powerful than conventional science admits. And if Pachita's feats were even partly genuine, they serve as striking evidence that the mind, when coherent, can indeed shape matter. For us, these stories are not instructions to perform miracles, but reminders of what is possible when the mind connects fully with the field of reality. They show the extreme end of what synergy and repetition might achieve. If someone like Pachita could materialize the impossible, then surely we can manifest opportunities, relationships, health, or abundance in our daily lives. The principles are the same, only the scale is different, so the path is clear. Repeat until the subconscious accepts a line, until synergy is reached. Release with trust and let the lattice do its work. Grinberg's research, Pachita's demonstrations, and the countless subtle shifts people have reported all point in the same direction, that consciousness is not a prisoner of reality, but its shaper. Each repetition sends a message. Each coherent thought tunes the field. Each act of release allows the lattice to respond. And when all of these come together, the boundary between thought and reality begins to dissolve. So here we are, standing at the edge of possibility. You've now walked through the steps that Jacobo Grinberg's research points toward. A path that shows us the mind is not a passive observer, but a powerful creator. And the challenge before you is simple. Try it today, not tomorrow, not someday when you have more time. Today, because the whole point of this method is that change doesn't need to be distant. It can begin within 24 hours. Think of it as an experiment. Set aside your doubts for just one night and put this technique into practice. Calm your mind. Let the noise of the day dissolve into silence. Choose one clear intention, nothing scattered, nothing half-hearted. Set it to yourself as if it has already happened, and most importantly, feel it. Don't just think the words. Let them burn in your chest. Let your body believe the outcome is real. Then repeat, over and over, 100 times, with rhythm, with focus, with emotion. And when you finish, let it go. Release it like a bird into the air. That release is the final act of trust. It tells the lattice, the web of reality Grinberg described, that you believe that you've already stepped into the version of yourself who has what you asked for. You don't need to cling to it anymore. You allow reality to unfold. Now here's the beauty of this 24-hour challenge. You may not wake up tomorrow with every dream suddenly in your hands, but you will notice the shift, a small sign, a message, an opportunity you hadn't seen before. The challenge is not about demanding the universe to bend instantly. It's about aligning yourself so deeply that reality starts to respond. And once it responds even a little, you know the door is open. From there, the possibilities keep expanding. This is what Jacobo's life's work was all about. He showed us that consciousness, when coherent, has the power to shape reality. He devoted his career to studying what most of science was too afraid to touch. And though his disappearance remains a mystery, the gift he left us is clear. The reminder that our minds hold far more power than we have been taught. So tonight, take the challenge. Focus your thought. Charge it with feeling. Repeat it until your subconscious accepts it. Release it with trust. And then watch. Give yourself 24 hours and see what happens. Maybe it will be something small, a phone call, an unexpected message, a door opening where none existed. Or maybe it will be something bigger. The point is not to control every detail, but to experience the shift. To realize that your mind is not just thinking inside reality, it is writing reality. And if this message resonates with you, if you feel even a spark of curiosity, then join us here at Awakened Synchronicity, because this is just the beginning. Jacobo Grinberg's work is vast, filled with secrets and insights waiting to be uncovered. Together, we'll explore more techniques, more stories, more ways to awaken the hidden power of consciousness. If you found value in this video, if you're ready to step into your own power, then like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel. Your journey into the deeper layers of reality has only just begun, and here, you'll find guidance every step of the way. The 24-hour challenge is yours to take. Try it, feel it, release it, and let reality surprise you. Welcome to the path Jacobo Grinberg lit for us, a path where thought becomes power, and power becomes the life you choose.